Jesus prophesied that before his second coming, there would be wars, rumors of wars, and earthquakes in different places. Is the present increased frequency of earthquakes the fulfillment of the words of Jesus? If so, does this mean we are near the second coming? We'll answer today on politics and religion.
Look, there are two things I don't discuss: politics and religion.
In my house, we don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion.
I'll talk to you about anything except politics and religion.
I never talk about politics and religion.
Politics determines how we'll live here on earth. Religion determines how we'll live forever. I'm Irvin Baxter. I think it's time we talk about it.
I certainly hope that all of you are joining us here at Endtime Ministries as we're praying for the people of Japan. What a tremendous cataclysmic incident has hit that nation, and we certainly need to remember them in our prayers. The earthquake, of course, was, now they're telling us, 9.0, one of the greatest earthquakes of all time, and the greatest earthquake in Japan ever on record. It is having cataclysmic consequences. Not only did it move the island 8 feet, now we're talking about the entire island, the coastline was moved 8 feet. I understand the rip in the Earth's core was about 250 miles long, very wide, and when the plates, the pressure buildup when they gave way, that was responsible for the huge shift. However, as though the earthquake was not enough, then came the tsunami, whose wall of water at some places 30 feet high came sweeping over 1 mile inland, picked up whole parking lots full of automobiles and just carried them, sweeping through the towns, taking entire subdivisions with it, houses simply swept away. And now then they're telling us that there may be a fatality rate of over 10,000. Already 2,000 bodies in the last 24 hours have washed up on the shore. So it just goes on and on. But as though that were not enough, the worst could be yet to come. We know it's knocked out power. 6 million people are without power. 500,000 people have had to evacuate their homes and are staying in temporary shelters. But then adding to all that, the nuclear power plants that Japan depends on for its electricity, now those are malfunctioning because the electricity went out. The water could not be pumped to keep the core of the nuclear power stations cool enough. If those overheat, then they melt down and you ultimately can have a nuclear explosion. So the scientists of Japan have been scrambling 24 hours a day, attempting everything in their power to keep the temperatures down. However, it looks like it's not working. It looks like that 3 of those reactors are in meltdown. Can it be contained, or will we have Chernobyl times 3? We don't know the answer to that yet. Already there has been radioactive substance released. Cesium-137 is what was released at Chernobyl. I understand it's the same nuclide that is being detected in the air now around the uranium reactors. So it's a horrific situation for the people of Japan, for the nation of Japan. And not only that, if in fact there would be major explosions in the reactors, the winds are blowing in such a way that it would sweep the radioactive material toward the west coast of the United States of America. Already people are becoming concerned. In Finland, they've sold out of iodine tablets. People rushing to buy iodine tablets in case the nuclear wave comes their way. Of course, the reason they're buying iodine tablets is because nuclear material affects your thyroid, and if you take iodine tablets, it can guard your thyroid against thyroid cancer. In the area of Chernobyl, the thyroid cancer rate is 248 times normal. So that's the reason that in Finland, even though it doesn't look like they're in the path of the radioactive cloud, should there be one, yet they're still scrambling. Now, the latest report is that one of our aircraft carriers was in the vicinity, hovering off the coast to see what they could do to help, and this radioactive cloud came their way, and actually some of the crew was exposed to radioactivity. So not only them, but many Japanese people that's been working around the power plants, they themselves have been exposed to radioactivity. So it's a very, very serious situation, and we're not even to the end of it yet. Now, here's the question that we want to ask today. We know that Jesus prophesied that in the last times, just before his second coming, there would be wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes in different places. Now, he obviously was talking about an escalated rate of wars. We know we've always had wars throughout human history. We've always had earthquakes, but Jesus specifically said that you will hear of wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places. If you'd like to read this, it's Matthew chapter number 24, verses 3 through 8. I want to read a little bit of it because I want to make sure you get the full power of the prophecy of Jesus Christ himself. Here's what it says, starting with verse number 3 of Matthew 24. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For kingdom shall rise against nation, shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in different places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. That's Matthew chapter 24, verse 3 through verse number 8. So we've seen this dramatic uptick in earthquakes. I was looking up on the internet this afternoon, and the increase of earthquakes starting 1999 has been incredibly dramatic. I mean, you just sort of go along at a level pattern, and then all of a sudden it shoots skyward dramatically. So it looks like, from all I could research, that we, in fact, over the last 10 years or so, have experienced a tremendous increase in earthquakes. So now back to Japan. We know in recent times we've had Haiti, we've had Chile. I think Haiti, 200 and some thousand died. We've had Chile, massive earthquake, but they were so well prepared that it didn't kill that many people. And then, of course, we've had Christchurch. I believe that's in New Zealand more recently. But the earthquakes just keep coming. And, of course, the latest is this horrific earthquake in Japan. So the question is this fulfilling the prophecy of Jesus or not? Now, let's be honest about this. We don't have to make excuses for God. We don't have to try to help him out in the fulfillment of his prophecies. His prophecies are going to be fully and completely fulfilled. But let's be honest. There always have been wars. There always have been rumors of wars. And apparently there have always been earthquakes. So why did Jesus give that then as the signs of his coming? Well, like I said earlier, there is evidence that the frequency of these earthquakes has increased dramatically over the last 10, 15, or 20 years. So that is a sign to us. But we have to admit, these are general signs that it's really hard to say, okay, we had an earthquake in Japan. That means you and I are the generation that will see the second coming of Jesus. Because Jesus went on down in this passage and said in verse 32 through 34, the generation that sees these things I've told you about in this prophecy chapter here will not pass until everything is fulfilled. So can we point to the earthquake in Japan and say that's a sign that all of us who have witnessed that shall not pass until everything is fulfilled? And everything included the account of the second coming of Jesus Christ in Matthew 24, verse number 29 through 31. So can we say that, or is it irresponsible to say that? Well, the bottom line is, I don't think we can say that. Because, like I mentioned, there have always been wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes. Now, do I believe they're happening right now? And do I believe it's the fulfillment of the prophecy of Jesus? Yes, I do. So why do I believe that? Are there evidences more than we've talked about? Well, the fact is there are. Because when I was looking at Matthew 24, I said, okay, God, these are pretty general things. We really couldn't drive a stake in the ground and say, okay, from this day forward, one generation and everything's got to be wrapped up, including the second coming of Jesus Christ. I don't think we can do that. So I said, you know, is there anything more specific? And I continued to study the 24th chapter of Matthew, and I came across some one-time events, not wars and rumors of wars, not earthquakes in different places, but I came across a couple of things that are only going to happen one time. And when we get back from the break, I'm going to tell you what those two things are and show you what is happening right now as evidence that we, in fact, are the generation upon whom the ends of the world has come. That's the way the Bible puts it. Okay, now, one of the things I want to make sure I tell you, we have been going through a tremendous engineering shift here at the studio, and because we've gone with a new provider, there's been a necessity to port all of our old numbers onto the new system, and we found out today that the 877 number that you normally call in to be on the program is not functioning properly. I was just informed of that 10 minutes before broadcast. Now, if you do want to call in and ask a question, there is a number you can call. It's not toll-free, but the number is 972-423-2353. I'm going to give it to you again. I'm going to give you time to grab a pencil. While you're doing that, let me also remind you that we've had a shift in our tour date. The tour is going to be August the 25th through September the 4th. It's going to be a total of 11 days, and it's going to be Israel only. We've had so many people request an Israel-only tour. The tour to Israel and to Germany did not work out. Consequently, we've made this alteration. Now, back one more time to the phone number. If you want to be on the program today, 972-423-2353. 972-423-2353.
Every Monday at 9 p.m. Central on the Church Channel and at 10 p.m. Central on Daystar, Irvin Baxter presents End of the Age. End of the Age is a 30-minute program which gives intricate details about how Bible prophecy is not only true, but also how it lines up so perfectly with events going on in the world right now. Don't miss one End of the Age program every Monday at 9 p.m. Central on the Church Channel and at 10 p.m. Central on Daystar. Visit endtime.com for more details or call 1-800-ENDTIME.
When you think about Bible prophecy or the end of the world, what comes to mind? War, destruction, famine, disease, 666, mark of the beast, antichrist, false prophet, four horsemen, trumpets, seals, and vials. What about 2012? How does all of this affect you as a teenager in today's world? Those are all good questions, but the thing to remember is that Bible prophecy was not put here for us to be afraid of it, but for us to know what is to come. When I was a kid, I used to pretend that I could see the future and predict